Breaking news: Quebec demands new elections after Liberals get exposed. In a shocking turn of events, the recent electoral victory of the Liberal candidate in Quebec's Terrebonne riding has come under intense scrutiny due to a critical error by Elections Canada. A misprinted postal code on mail-in ballot envelopes has led to the disenfranchisement of voters, raising serious questions about the integrity of the electoral process. The election, decided by a mere single vote after a judicial recount, now hangs in the balance, with calls for a new election gaining momentum among both political leaders and the public. The misprinted postal code resulted in several mail-in ballots being returned undelivered, effectively silencing the voices of voters who diligently followed all procedures to participate in the democratic process. This bureaucratic error has not only compromised the rights of individual voters, but has also cast a shadow over the legitimacy of the election results. The Liberal candidate, Tatiana Auguste, won the riding by just one vote, making this error particularly egregious and highlighting the fragility of electoral outcomes in closely contested races. Natalie Sinclair-Descain, the Bloc Québécois candidate, is currently exploring her legal options, fully aware that even a single misdirected ballot could potentially alter the election's outcome. This situation underscores a broader concern regarding Elections Canada's ability to manage the electoral process effectively. As the agency tasked with safeguarding democracy, its failure to ensure the accuracy of its electoral processes raises alarm bells across the political spectrum, prompting discussions about the need for systemic reforms. Political leaders are responding to this crisis with urgency. Pierre Poilievre, leader of the Conservative Party, has emphasized the need for transparency and accountability in the electoral process. His call for a thorough review of Elections Canada's practices resonates with many Canadians who feel that their democratic rights have been compromised by this blunder. Meanwhile, Mark Carney, the new leader of the Liberal Party and Prime Minister, faces increasing pressure to address these concerns and restore public trust in the electoral system. The situation has sparked a national conversation about the reliability of our democratic institutions and the urgent need for reforms to prevent such errors in the future. Public sentiment is shifting rapidly as more Canadians become aware of the implications of this electoral blunder. It is not just a local issue. It reflects a troubling pattern of administrative failures that could undermine the electoral process across Canada. Reports of polling station closures in conservative areas and mismanaged voter data further complicate the landscape, raising suspicions about whether these errors disproportionately affect certain political parties. When voters perceive that their ballots may not be counted, the integrity of elections is jeopardized, and trust in democracy erodes. As the fallout from the misprinted postal code continues to unfold, the Bloc Québécois has mobilized support for an independent investigation into the electoral process. This initiative emphasizes the need for accountability and transparency in government operations, particularly in matters as crucial as elections. Citizens are increasingly vocal, demanding that their rights to a fair election be protected and that systemic issues within Elections Canada be addressed. This grassroots movement reflects a broader desire among Canadians to ensure that their voices are heard and their votes are counted. The implications of this situation stretch far beyond the Terrebonne riding. If Elections Canada is allowed to overlook such critical errors, it sets a dangerous precedent for future elections, where close outcomes could be swayed by clerical mistakes. The call for a new election in Terrebonne is not just about rectifying a single error. It is about ensuring that every vote counts and that the electoral process remains fair and transparent for all Canadians. Amidst this turmoil, the government faces scrutiny over its commitment to democratic principles. The Liberal victory in Terrebonne, now overshadowed by these errors, raises questions about whether these failures are mere incompetence or indicative of deeper systemic issues within the electoral framework. The public is demanding answers, and complacency is no longer an option for those in power. The urgency of the situation calls for immediate action to restore confidence in the electoral process and ensure that such errors do not occur in the future. As Canadians rally for accountability, the broader implications of this incident are becoming increasingly apparent. With over 15,000 people signing a petition for an independent investigation, it is clear that the public is unwilling to accept bureaucratic negligence as a norm. The integrity of elections must be maintained, and citizens are making their voices heard, advocating for a system that values each vote and upholds democratic ideals. The demand for transparency and accountability is resonating across the country, creating a unified front for electoral reform. This incident reveals a deeper problem within our electoral system. It's not just an isolated error, it's a warning sign of an aging and unaccountable electoral infrastructure. We've seen a gradual decline in standards, including inconsistent procedures and untrained election workers. If we normalize such mistakes, we risk institutionalizing failure, particularly if these failures continue to favor one party over another. The potential for bias in the electoral process must be addressed to restore public confidence. The time for action is now. Canadians must keep the pressure on their leaders to ensure accountability. Advocating for reforms, sharing the petition, and contacting members of Parliament are crucial steps in restoring trust in the electoral process. Silence has led to declining confidence in elections, and the current climate demands a national response against bureaucratic negligence. Citizens are encouraged to engage with their representatives and demand concrete actions to rectify these issues. This is a pivotal moment for Quebec and all of Canada. If the Bloc candidate proceeds with legal action, it could reshape how we address electoral errors, ensuring accountability and comprehensive reforms. We must stand up for a system that values every vote, demanding an investigation and a new election in Terrebonne. The voices of the disenfranchised voters deserve to be heard, and their constitutional rights must be restored. As we move forward, it is vital to remember that behind this scandal are real voters who followed all procedures, only to have their ballots returned or uncounted due to a simple postal code error. Their rights have been stripped away, and this should not be accepted in a functioning democracy. The future of Canadian elections depends on our collective commitment to uphold the principles of fairness, transparency, and accountability. The road ahead may be challenging, but the pursuit of a just electoral process is essential for the health of our democracy.